Okay, so we're starting with chapter 9.
What's up?
With a little help from my brother James. It was my brother James, of all people, who helped me solve the problem of what to get Rufus for his birthday. He saw the ad about aluminum tubes in the Cleveland Plain Dealer and called it to my attention. It's one of the few helpful things James has ever done for me. I was looking for a birthday present for Rufus. I decided what Rufus really needed at this point in his business career was some toothpaste tubes. What do you think that she means by that? He needs some toothpaste tubes. Me? Pass that down.
I think what he means, because if it's in a baby jar, then you can't squeeze it out. You just get like a knife and like spread it out like butter, or peanut butter. That's just not really cool.
Oh, okay.
It's not also a good bar when you do that.
She means by that probably for Rufus to put the ingredients in there, mix them up, and then put a little bit more and mix it up again for each jar he has.
Okay, but she's thinking about tubes. Is that the same as a jar?
No.
So, why would a tube be better than a jar? I think that's what Jackson was talking about. That you can't squeeze it out.
He's gonna get a knife, like you have to put the knife in the sink every day. Then wash.
Okay, so
Or you
let's.
can use a toothbrush. Just put it in there.
That's like it would be like all over the toothbrush if you did that.
All right, so you think it would be better to have it squeezable?
Yep.
All right, if you're going to sit on the rolling chair, you can't be rolling all around. So secure it so it stops. All right, it's like Rufus and I had been having some arguments about the baby food jars. A lot of customers seemed surprised at the idea of toothpaste in a jar. It seemed a little strange. All right, I'm going to stop for a minute. I want everyone to be with me on the book. So I know you're eating, but let's be turned to the same page. Some of you are. Let's everybody get there. Page 41, so that we can discuss what it says. You ready, boys?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Rufus's reaction was, why don't they put peanut butter in tubes? You wouldn't need a knife to spread it. Josie and Clem agreed with me about the jars. Clem pointed out to Rufus that jars were heavier than tubes. If you're going to be mailing 3 dozen jars all the way to Venice, California, you ought to think about the postage costs, she said. And another thing Josie said, if everybody in a family is dipping his toothpaste in the same jar, it isn't too sanitary.
Oh yeah.
What does that mean, it isn't too sanitary?
Nasty.
I know. I think I know what it means.
Go ahead, Ollie. Talk about it. And then hand it to Jackson.
I think it means not that nasty because
Why would it be nasty?
if you hear it putting it into a sentence, and if you replace it with nasty, it just fits right in.
Not really.
Well,
Okay. So, nasty and sanitary are not synonyms, so you really can't replace it. So that's why I'm trying to clarify what you mean by nasty. So, if we're all... Go ahead.
What I mean by nasty is that I think she's trying to say that they think it's nasty. They think it's not nasty, but she thinks it is.
Let's look at the
I
page.
don't like.
Look
I
at
don't
page...
like.
Hold on. Wait. Look at page 42, Ollie.
I am.
And let's look at where it said that. And he said, and another thing Josie said, if everybody in a family is dipping his toothbrush in the same jar, it isn't too sanitary. So if we have a jar, and we're all putting our toothbrush in there,
Yeah, it's really gross.
what does that mean? Sanitary. Jackson thinks he knows.
Oh, okay, I know.
I think it means. Oh wow, I just forgot, but I do remember. It means, so if you dip your toothbrush in a jar and everybody has to use it, and then it goes in your mouth, and then you use it again and again, it keeps on going in your mouth, and the germs get inside all that toothpaste.
All right, so germs has to do with sanitary. So
So I think sanitary means like so it's not clean.
okay.
Like
Let's replace that and see if it makes sense. Like Ollie mentioned that technique where you put a word in. Hold on, let's try that. Everybody can have his own jar, Rufus said. It would be good for... Oh, wait, I skipped it. And another thing Josie said, if everybody in a family is dipping his toothbrush in the same jar, it isn't too clean. Does that make sense?
yes.
All right, that was a good replacement word.
Or
Go ahead, Daniel.
not too good.
Well, is good the same as clean?
No.
No. So, clean is a better word, a better...
Depends how you
could
use
say not
it
too clean,
technically.
though.
Right, but I think that the point, sanitary is saying that something is clean, it's healthy. So, if I have germs, if I have a cold, and I brush my teeth, and then I dip my toothbrush in the
The
toothpaste,
next person that puts it in would get sick.
yeah, could get sick. So in a hospital wants to be sanitary. That means it doesn't want to be spreading germs around.
Like when they put on their gloves.
Yes, when they put gloves on, when they do things,
When they wash their
when they,
when they put hand sanitizer on. So
yes, that's all talking about being sanitary. Exactly. Very good. All right. Thank you for sharing that strategy, though, Ollie, because that's a really good way to figure out if what you're thinking is the correct meaning of the word. Everybody can have his own jar, Rufus said. It would be good for business if we could sell 5 or 6 jars to every family. Now think about that. If everybody has a toothpaste jar in the bathroom, what would be the problem with that?
Oh,
Francisco?
If they don't have their name and they have their own sanitizer jar, they could get mixed up, and they can use, if someone has a cold and they use the one that has a cold but they don't, they probably catch the cold.
All right, so they could mix them up. That's one problem. Anybody else have an idea? Have a different idea?
there's the germ one that I said, and there's another one. If it toothpaste spots, if they fall, they won't break. And if the jars fall, they're made out of glass, so they're really fragile.
Okay. Anything else anybody's thinking?
What was the question?
Why would it be a problem for everybody to have their own jar in the bathroom?
Actually, I know the answer to that, but I'll give you first.
That would be a problem because, like, say there's like 7 people in a family, and there's a small bathroom. How are you gonna fit all of those into that one little
That's
bathroom?
exactly what I was thinking. As a mom, I don't want 7 jars all over my counter.
That sounds horrible.
All right, listen, boys. Get your food settled so that you can focus on our discussion today. Do you know what you're eating?
yeah.
All right,
I'm eating pet food.
let's keep going. Where are we? The jars would get mixed up. That's what you were thinking, Francisco. People could write their names on them, Rufus said. They could, I said, but with a big family, there isn't room for all those jars on the bathroom shelf. And even if there were, my brother James would always reach for the first jar. Your brother James is a special problem, Rufus said. At least we agreed on that. I don't think we convinced Rufus about the jars, but I decided I would take a chance on him getting some toothpaste tubes just to see if they would improve sales. Did you ever try to buy a few toothpaste tubes? You can't. I tried hardware stores, drugstores, department stores. I couldn't find any place that sold empty tubes. And by the time anybody is finished with an old toothpaste tube, you can't really use it again, as you can a baby food jar.
Oh.
A man in the hardware store finally explained to me that an empty tube is not a retail item. He said I would have to go to a tube manufacturer. What do you think a manufacturer is? Give that to Dontavius.
I think the tooth manufacturer is like a toothpaste factory.
That's what I was
Very
gonna
good
say.
factory.
That is in the middle of the book. The
Is
toothpaste
it?
factory.
Oh,
Yeah, it is.
yeah.
Like, so in the middle of the book, the kid wants a tooth filling machine because they get like a lot of toothpaste tubes. So like 700, 200. So they have to go to the place that had the order on the box, and that's when that happens.
Okay.
I agree with Jackson because when in the middle of the book, they need the machine because like if they don't have the machine, they're gonna tire themselves out just by working and working.
Focus on your peers, not
Just by working and working all day, every day. Their hands will get sore and stuff. And the machine makes it all by itself, and it does it really quick.
Okay.
Yeah, also,
Go ahead.
how do you think? Wait.
Just stay right there. I think it can pick you up even.
How do you think you can fill a little, like, you know, like those little holes in the toothpaste? How do you think you can fill 7,200 tubes like that? That's just crazy.
Without a machine, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Depends.
And it
All right.
takes a
Depends how
lot
much
of
people
space.
are there. Like,
All right, let's keep going.
It's a lot, but
I found some tube manufacturers listed in the yellow pages, and I wrote to one of them, the Tuxedo Tube and Container Corporation in Paramus, New Jersey, to ask how much a small box of medium-sized tubes would cost. The district sales manager of Tuxedo wrote me a nice letter back explaining that their minimum orders were for 10,000 tubes. If I wanted that many, the price would be about 5 cents a tube.
Yeah.
Also, they would be glad to quote me special prices on orders of 50,000 or 100,000.
then
Now-
that means it's
So go ahead. What does that mean? If he's having to pay 5 cents a tube, then what's that going to do to his?
So that means 5,000. Wait, yeah, 5,000 cents, which is
5 cents for one tube.
and there's 1,000 tubes. So
10,000 tubes.
10,000 tubes.
Mm-hmm.
50. So it will cost $50. No.
So we could look on the calculator
I
and
think
see.
it will be 500.
All right, let's see if you're right. So 10,000 times 0.05, which would be 5 cents, because a nickel is
5 cents.
out of $1, so that'd be 500th, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Equals $500.
Yes!
Good job, Ollie.
Wow.
Good job.
You're a
right.
master.
So
Now you can do 60 times 60, which I know the
Okay.
answer to.
10,000 toothpaste tubes seemed like a lot to start with, even though I'd gotten to the habit of thinking in thousands and millions since I started working with Rufus. I multiplied 10,000 by 5 cents and found Rufus's present was going to cost me $500. I decided he'd have to wait until his next birthday after I collected all those profits on my stock certificates. My father asked me why didn't I just get Rufus some sheets of thin lead or aluminum and let him make his own tubes, since he was so handy at making things. But it turned out aluminum sheets weren't retail items either. Rufus's birthday was only about a week away when James saw the auction ad. James' favorite reading is newspaper ads for bankruptcy sales. Does anybody know what a bankruptcy is? Oh, Dontavius thinks he does.
I think I do too, but me too.
Nice and loud.
I think a breakdown is when a company just goes broke and they lose all their money.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking.
Is that what you were thinking?
Yeah, I said that in the
Yeah.
book at the
Exactly.
toothpaste part too.
Thank you, Dontavius.
Wow.
Okay.
You're a math master. And
Oh.
he's a math.
Once James read about an auction of the entire contents of a model car factory. Unfortunately, the ad was in a paper a month old and the auction was over by the time James read about it. Or maybe fortunately, my father says, as James probably would have gone and bought the entire contents and our house would be mistaken for a model car factory as it is. Could be. Anyway, ever since that ad, James checks the paper every morning hoping for another model car factory to go bankrupt. The only auctions I'd ever been to were the kind my mother goes to, where you can buy old chairs and china cups and antique clocks. But the Cleveland Plain Dealer advertises auctions of the most surprising things. Printing presses, or 15 trailer trucks, or Ferris wheel swings, or 10,000 boxes of cornflakes.
What?
James reads off lists like this every morning at breakfast. Got your book? I don't generally listen to James' auction ads. Thinking about 10,000 boxes of cornflakes at breakfast can take the edge off your appetite. Half a dozen slightly shop-worn coffins, my father said. That's just what I need. Miscellaneous pharmaceutical supplies, James went on, and I wasn't paying any attention until I suddenly heard the word tubes. Tubes, did you say? I said, almost choking on my toast. Yeah, tubes, James said. 50 gross, high-quality aluminum tubes suitable for cosmetics, shaving creams, foods, adhesives, household cements, 11:30. Shaving creams, foods, adhesives, household cements, lubricants, leather softeners, polishes, shampoos, oil paints, insecticides, dentifrices, I said. That's toothpaste. Now, did you know that?
No.
I didn't either.
They could probably.
Did you know that, Miss Akins?
They could probably use that name.
You don't know that?
I did not know that.
Well, Ms. Diedrichs, if they wanted a name for their toothpaste, they could have used that.
Yes. So, do you think that adults know every word in the English language?
No.
No.
Like I said, just because you're a teacher doesn't mean you know everything.
That's right. So I'm
Do you
learning.
know Badens?
I'm learning just like you.
If
Do you know Badens?
you'll learn a lot.
I think I know it.
What does it mean then?
I know how to drive a boat.
I think that it means hold off on something, but I would have to look at it in the context of a sentence.
Obedience means to obey.
Oh, obedience.
Oh.
Okay, obedience. Yes, I know obedience. Trust me. I sing a song with my kids. Obedience is the very best way to show that you believe. So I know that word. Okay, ready? Chapter 10. We have just a few. Go ahead, Jackson.
Say something about me. I know how to drive a boat.
I do too.
I know how to
Boats are
drive.
really easy to drive,
Yeah.
right?
Boats?
Mario Kart. Wait.
Okay, but we're getting off task of our story. I know, James said. I keep telling you they have good things at these auctions. For once, James was right. And then chapter 10 says a gross mistake. So where it says 50 gross high-quality aluminum tubes is gross, is that talking about something that's disgusting?
No.
What is it talking about?
Wait, say it again.
Look at the text, page 46. Top of the page.
Top of the page. Top of the page.
50 gross, high-quality aluminum tubes.
Oh, I got it.
Look at that context and think about how Ollie said, let's put a different word in there and see.
Where?
What do we know that this word has to be?
I think it means a crazy mistake.
50 gross, high-quality aluminum
Well, it doesn't
tubes.
say 50.
Yeah, it does.
It is 50.
50
Oh, right
gross,
there.
high-quality.
I thought you were talking about right there.
No, not that. 50 gross, high-quality aluminum tubes. So even if we
50
don't,
gross.
so if we don't know what the word gross is, stop. We don't know what that means there, but we know we can kind of figure out what it has to be about. What does that word there have to be about? 50 plain, high-quality aluminum tubes.
It has to be about foods. Dudes.
Bad or not good.
But what comes right before it?
Like how many tubes does he got?
Aluminum.
Say that, Francisco.
Like 50 tubes that he got.
So
How much have we
50 something. Gross is a unit. So think about our.
Oh, like 50 square units. 50.
Yes. So I can't remember exactly how much a gross is, but think about on our things where we have
I
like.
think I know what a gross.
What do you think it is? Let's look it up.
I think it is.
I'm gonna guess it's 1,000, but I don't think I'm right.
I'm guessing it's 100. I think
Gross.
it's 100.
Measurement.
I bet it's 100.
Does Miss Akins know?
Do you know what it's
How much is gross? Gross?
Like the gross income?
I think like 200.
No, like gross as
The
in a
units.
measurement.
Yeah. A unit.
A unit.
How much is it in a unit?
Do you know it?
I think it's
Okay, here it is. It's a dozen.
So that's
36.
more.
So
That's
what is a dozen? So that's
24.
how much is a dozen in a dozen?
12.
It's a dozen.
36.
So it'd be
Oh, wait.
12.
24. 12 times 12 equals 144.
Yes.
Got it.
All right, we're done. Does anybody want? Yesterday, Ollie had a word about the book club to the camera. Does somebody else want to say something about it today? All right, Dontavius, come here. Did you raise your hand? All right, Francisco.
I love this book club.
Well, look at the camera and tell them about it.
I love this book club so much because we learn like something different every day.
Okay, go ahead.
And maybe one day when we're like around in like 6th grade, we can make our own business.
Oh.
And if we find each other, like all of us, we can make our business.
All right, go ahead, Ollie.
That's what I'm planning. Alright, so we have a lot of things to do while we are still reading. And I love this book club because for one, we get to eat in the classroom, and two, we're reading about the talking book.
Okay.
Totally
All right.
in the classroom.
The end.
I have to. 21.
Until tomorrow.